31. I had Corky pull up the shades before they left. He did it with quick, jerky motions. There were now what seemed like hundreds of cruisers out there, thousands of people. It was 3 minutes of 1. The sunlight hurt my eyes. Goodbye, I said. Goodbye, Sandra said. They all said goodbye, I think, before they went out. Their footfalls made a funny echoey noise going down the hall. I closed my eyes and imagined a giant centipede wearing Georgia Giants on each of its 100 feet. When I opened them again, they were walking across the bright green of the lawn. I wished they had used the sidewalk. Even after all that had happened, it was still a hell of a lawn. The last thing I remember seeing of them was that their hands were streaked with black ink. People enveloped them. One of the reporters, throwing caution to the winds, eluded 3 policemen and raced down to where they were, pell-mell. The last one to be swallowed up was Carol Granger. I thought she looked back, but I couldn't tell for sure. Philbrick started to walk stolidly toward the school. Flashbulbs were popping all over the place. Time was short. I went over to where Ted was leaning against the green cinder block wall. He was sitting with his legs splayed out below the bulletin board, which was full of notices from the Mathematical Society of America, which nobody ever read, Peanuts comic strips, the acme of humour and the late Mrs. Underwood's estimation, and a poster showing Bertrand Russell in a quote, "Gravity alone proves the existence of God." But any undergraduate in creation could have told Bertrand that it has been conclusively proved that there is no gravity, the earth just sucks. I squatted beside Ted. I pulled the crumpled wad of math paper out of his mouth and laid it aside. Ted began to drool. Ted. He looked past me over my shoulder. Ted, I said, and patted his cheek gently. He shrank away. His eyes rolled wildly. You're going to get better, I said. You're going to forget this day ever happened. Ted made mewling sounds. Or maybe you won't. Maybe you go on from here, Ted. Build from this. Is that such an impossible idea? It was for both of us, and being so close to Ted had begun to make me very nervous. The intercom chinked open. It was Philbrick. He was puffing and blowing again. Decca. Right here. Come out with your hands up. I sighed. You come down and get me, Philbrick, old sport. I'm pretty goddamn tired. This psycho business is a hell of a drain on the glands. All right, he said, tough. They'll be shooting in the gas canisters in just about 1 minute. Better not, I said. I looked at Ted. Ted didn't look back. He just kept on looking into emptiness. Whatever he saw there must have been mighty tasty, because he was still drooling down his chin. You forgot to count noses. There's still one of them down here. He's hurt. That was something of an understatement. His voice was instantly weary. Who? Ted Jones. How was he hurt? Stubbed his toe. He's not there. You're lying. I wouldn't lie to you, Philbrick, and jeopardize our beautiful relationship. No answer. Puff, snort, blow. Come on down, I invited. The gun is unloaded. It's in a desk drawer. We can play a couple of cribbage hands, then you can take me out and tell all the papers how you did it single-handed. You might even make the cover of Time if we work it right. Chink. He was off the horn. I closed my eyes and put my face in my hands. All I saw was grey. Nothing but grey. Not even a flash of white light. For no reason at all, I thought of New Year's Eve when all those people crowd into Times Square and scream like jackals as the lighted ball slides down the pole, ready to shed its thin party glare on 365 new days in this best of all possible worlds. I've always wondered what it would be like to be caught in one of those crowds, screaming and not able to hear your own voice, your individuality momentarily wiped out and replaced with the blind empathetic overslop of the crowd's lurching and angry anticipation. Hip to hip and shoulder to shoulder with no one in particular. I began to cry. When Philbrick stepped through the door, he glanced down at the drooling Ted thing and then up at me. What in the name of God did you... he began. I made as if to grab something behind Mrs. Underwood's desktop row of books and plants. Here it comes, you shit cop, I screamed. He shot me 3 times. 32. Those who would be informed in this matter draw ye near, and know ye then by these presents. Charles Everett Decker, convicted in Superior Court this day, August 27, 1976, of the willful murder of Jean Alice Underwood, and also convicted this day, August 27, 1976, of the willful murder of John Downs Vance, both human beings. It has been determined by 5 state psychiatrists that Charles Everett Decker cannot at this time be held accountable for his actions by reason of insanity. It is therefore the decision of this court that he be remanded to the Augusta State Hospital, where he will be held in treatment until such time as he can be certified responsible to answer for his acts. To this writ have I set my hand. Signed, Judge Samuel K. N. DeLeavy. In other words, until shit sticks on the moon, baby. 33. Interoffice memo from Dr. Anderson to Rich Gossage, admin, wing. Subject, Theodore Jones. Rich, I'm still loath to try the shock treatments on this boy, although I can't explain it even to myself. Call it hunch. Of course, I can't justify hunch to the board of directors or to Jones's uncle, who is footing the bill, which in a private institution like Woodlands don't come cheap, as we both know. If there is no movement in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we'll go on with the standard electroshock therapy, but for now I would like to run the standard drug schedule again, plus a few not so standard. I'm thinking of both synthetic mescaline and psilocybin, if you concur. Will Greenberger has had a great deal of success with semi-catatonic patients, as you know, and these 2 hallucinogens have played a major part in his therapy. Jones is such a strange case, god damn it. If we only could be sure what had gone on in that classroom after that Decker individual had the shades pulled down. Diagnosis hasn't changed. Flatline catatonic state with some signs of deterioration. I might as well admit to you up front, Rich, that I am not as hopeful for this boy as I once was. November 3rd, 1976. 34. December 5th, 1976. Dear Charlie, they tell me you can have mail now, so I thought I would drop you a line. Maybe you noticed this is postmarked Boston. Your old buddy finally made the big time, and I'm taking 16 hours here at BU. That stands for Bullshit Unlimited. It's all pretty slushy except for my English class. The instructor assigned us a book called The Postman Always Rings Twice. That was really good, and I got an A in the exam. It's by James Cain. Did you ever read it? I'm thinking about majoring in English. How's that for a laugh? Must be your influence. And you were always the brains of the combination. I saw your mum just before I left Placerville, and she said you were just about all healed up and the last of the drains were out 3 weeks ago. I was sure glad to hear it. She said you aren't talking much. That doesn't sound like you, Skinner. It would sure be a loss to the world if you clammed up and just scrunched in a corner all day. Although I haven't been home since the semester started, Sandy Cross wrote me a letter with a lot of news about all the people at home. Will the bastards censor this part? I bet they read all your mail. Sandy herself decided not to go to college this year. She's just sort of hanging around, waiting for something to happen, I guess. I might as well tell you that I dated her a couple of times last summer, but she just seemed kind of distant. She asked me to say hi to you, so hi from Sandy. Maybe you know what happened to Pigpen. No one in town can believe it, about him and Dick Keane. Following has been censored as possibly upsetting to patient. As you can never tell what people are going to do, can you? Carol Granger's valedictory speech was reprinted by 17 magazine. As I remember, it was on self-integrity and a normal response to it, or some such happy horse shit. We would have had some fun ranking that one out, right, Charlie? Oh yeah, and Irma Bates is going out with some hippie from Lewiston. I guess they were even in a demonstration when Robert Dole came to Portland to campaign in the presidential election stuff. They were arrested and then let go when Dole flew out. Mrs. Bates must have been having birds about it. Can't you just see Irma trying to brain Robert Dole with a Gus Hall campaign sign? Haha, that just kills me. We would have had some laughs over that one too, Charlie. God, I miss your old cracked ass sometimes. Gracie Stanner, that cute little chick, is going to get married, and that's also a local sensation. It boggles the mind. Following has been censored as possibly upsetting to patients. Anyway, you can never tell what sort of monkey shines people are going to get up to, right? Well, guess that's all for now. I hope they are treating you right, Ferd, as you've got to be out of there as soon as they'll let you. And if they start letting you have visitors, I want you to know that I will be the first in line. There are a lot of us pulling for you, Charlie. Pulling hard. People haven't forgotten. You know what I mean? You have to believe that. With love, your friend, Joe McKay. 35. I haven't had any bad dreams for 2 weeks, almost. I do lots of jigsaw puzzles. They give me custard and I hate it, but I eat it just the same. They think I like it. So I have a secret again. Finally, I have a secret again. My mom sent me the yearbook. I haven't unwrapped it yet, but maybe I will. Maybe next week I will. I think I could look at all the senior pictures and not tremble a bit. Pretty soon. Just as soon as I can make myself believe that there won't be any black streaks on their hands. That their hands will be clean, with no ink. Maybe next week I'll be completely sure of that. About the custard, it's only a little secret, but having a secret makes me feel better, like a human being again. That's the end. I have to turn the light off now. Good night.